Join us as we sit down with remarkable individuals from various walks of life who faced their fair share of obstacles and emerged with positivity. Each episode, you'll hear inspiring stories, actionable tips, and wisdom that can supercharge your own journey when using adversity as motivation. Let's learn together. Welcome to Lauer Power.
Welcome to another episode of Lauer Power, where we, again, use adversity as motivation alongside Chad Lauer. I'm Chad Evans. Special series we got going on. It's called the Summer Leadership Series, again, sponsored by our friends GDK Development, the plumbing outlet Brian G. Persing Masonry. Thanks so much for climbing on board and helping us out with these podcasts with Lauer Power. Chad Lauer, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks.
So yeah, this has been a really fun series. We've had a lot of laughs behind the scenes, just talking about some of our leadership experiences, business experiences, sports experiences, etc. And a lot of times you learn what not to do. So one of the benefits I've had, and you've had, Chad, is we've both worked for really big companies and corporate companies. And I've learned so many positives from that, but I've also learned how not to do things. And I tell this story often, and it's the reason why I'm in business for myself. But in my 10 years in corporate America, our company was actually sold 3 times. So they were sold to capital management companies and, you know, all these people who are way smarter than I am. But we were a very large arm of AT&T. And I learned a lot of really good things about business. But I also learned how to not build a culture of accountability. So our leadership topic here for the last series are the 5 dysfunctions of a team.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it's famous by Patrick Lencioni, and he's identified what the 5 dysfunctions of a team are. But before I get started, I got to tell a story about a time when I was a decade into my corporate career, and I'll never forget it. I got an email from like HR or somebody in leadership, and next to my name it said 119P50. And that was my employee ID. And after 10 years of just killing myself, working like 80 hours a week, you know, just really hustling, because that's my nature of who I am, I had this moment of clarity where I said, I think I was 32 years old at the time, and I said to myself, no matter how hard I work, right, or how much I give to this company, it's so big that I will always just be 119P50, right? Mm-hmm. I will never be more than that, okay? And it's just kind of reminded me about, you know, building culture as we're doing this leadership series. So I want you to think about your culture, whether it's big or small, and how you can utilize this leadership series to improve it. So Patrick Lencioni says there are 5 dysfunctions of a team. They are the following: 1, absence of trust; 2, fear of conflict; 3, lack of commitment; 4, avoidance of accountability; and 5, inattention to results. So let's go through that. Absence of trust. The cause is that team members are unwilling to be vulnerable with one another, okay? So they usually will cover up their mistakes. They won't ask for help. They'll hide things from other team members because maybe they're fighting for a promotion or, you know, things of that nature. Maybe somebody on the team at one time, you know, took credit for their work. All of these things happen in a normal workplace setting. So my question is, how do we fix the absence of trust? Okay. You have to build vulnerability based through honesty, shared experiences, and leadership modeling. So I'll give you an example of something that I learned a long time ago. And I think this helps with any culture of building trust, okay? One thing is we're all driven financially. And I struggle with this a lot in my company too. But we each choose our own career path. So one of the things I struggle with is compensation, right? Why should company A be paid more than company B? And a lot of times we're afraid to talk about it. Or I'm sorry, employee A be paid more than employee B. So I'll give you an example. If you sign up for a sales role, okay, with a quota, and you chose that path knowing how hard it is to be told no all day, right? We set forth a path for you to earn XYZ amount of money. If you showed up for, or if you signed up for a job where you're cleaning the building, okay, and you knew what the career path was for that role, if you do things that are X, Y, and Z, you can't come to me down the road and say, well, hey, I've been here 10 or 15 years and I want to make the same amount of money that Johnny's making in sales, right? And the only way to do that is to model the career path that you've chosen, right? And I just use two random examples. It could be, somebody in ops versus HR, okay? And if you don't model that, okay, and let them know what they need to do to further their career, you're going to start getting animosity, right? So you need to set forth a path of success, monitor results, and share them with everybody.
I agree.
Right? Share them with everybody so everybody can see what success looks like. Okay. And I guarantee you, when you start sharing those things, the top performers are going to be motivated by it. And the bottom performers are either going to, leave, or they're going to say, hey, what do I need to do to get to where, Johnny is or Susie is? Okay. Number 2, fear of conflict. This one's huge. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And that's okay, right? It's okay. If we all agree, that's a problem, right? We can't proceed with groupthink, as Harry said in our previous, episode, or artificial harmony, right? Have a passionate debate. Feel comfortable having conflict, right? If issues go unaddressed, every time it will blow up down the road, right? So as a leader, you need to encourage healthy conflict. You need to step back and not put your 2 cents in and allow people to disagree. Chad, anything to add to that?
I remember experiencing both of these things, first and foremost, in my careers. I'll leave the business names out of it.
Which I've also done.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, the conflict thing would always lead to like drama behind closed doors. And you do have to separate, personal and professional, right? Listen, nothing personal, but I had a little bit of a problem doing this, and here's why. So you do have to have some tough conversations, but
what's funny is Dave Ramsey does this better than anybody. Yeah. He has a family business, and it'll be hard. Maybe one day my kids will work for me, right? But when we're in the office and we're working, we each put our professional hat on, right? When we leave the office and we go golfing or we're at dinner or whatever, as colleagues, right? Put our friendship hat on, or our daughter, mother, dad, son hat, whatever that is, right? But you can't have the two cross, right? You can't. You just have to make sure that you can separate those things. And again, it's one of those things where if the leader does not encourage healthy conflict, right, it will have a top-down effect.
But that leader has to set it by example.
Correct.
That's where it starts.
Yep. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, right? Number 3, the third dysfunction of a team is lack of commitment, right? we have to be committed. If you're not committed equally, team members will struggle, because then they'll say, well, hold on, Chad's not holding me accountable, or Chad's holding me accountable, but not holding Chris accountable, right? Or Chad's holding, Sarah accountable, but not Ivy. It's one of those things where my goal in a healthy culture and a healthy team is they start to hold each other accountable. Because if I'm the one that has to always be like, hey, we need to come to work, we need to practice, we need to, get the pitch deck ready, we need to watch film, whatever the situation is, if I have to do it, that's a problem, right? I love to come in and be like, updated on what's already been done. Like, hey, Chad, here's what we have this. We have an issue with client ABC. We have this prep for Thursday. We have this done for Friday, et cetera. I shouldn't have to come in and be like, hey, let's go, guys. Let's go, right? That's a healthy level of commitment, right? And listen, the only reason why your team won't come in and just give you an update instead of wait for instruction is because they think you micromanage them. If you give them the ability to go do the work with confidence and say, hey, I don't really care if it's not exactly the way I want it, then they will perform at a much better level.
Agreed. Yes, absolutely.
Avoidance of accountability. This one drives me nuts, right? And again, I relate sports and business well on this podcast, I think. We point fingers at a referee, or we point fingers at a coach, right? Or we shoot 15% from three and we blame somebody else for the loss, right? Same thing in business. We lose an account, a big account. And it's like, well, here's the biggest two, right? Ops and sales, right? Fight like crazy. Well, it was the fulfillment end. Well, maybe you should have just called them as a sales rep and checked in on them, right? Or ops didn't fulfill, and then they're like, well, sales doesn't give us what we need, okay? Marketing and sales, same thing. Oh, we need more inbound leads. It's not working for marketing. Sales, oh no, marketing gave me bad leads, right? Constantly in most businesses are these two after each other. Listen, nurses and doctors. How many times have you walked out of, seen the doc walk out of the room and the nurse just bashes him or her because they don't even know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. I'm the one that does all this. I hear it all the time.
All the time.
All of the time, right? Then nurses and MAs or whatever, right? It's shocking how many times they will actually voice it to the patient. It's crazy. Right? I couldn't imagine that. We're on the same team. Why are you bashing me, right? Two totally different responsibilities. Build a culture of respect, right? Honor it. If you want the doc to come in and tell you how bad you did as the nurse to the patient, right? They could do that, and vice versa. Why are we doing that, right? Nobody's perfect. So create a culture of accountability. Now, inattention to results. Okay. When accountability is weak, individuals prioritize personal success over team results. Okay. Finger pointing is a big one. Okay. Inattention to results. The result should always be what's best for the team, because together everybody achieves more. See what I did there?
Oh, yeah.
You like that?
Team.
Okay.
Got
it. Got it. Okay. But my point is, if you are a good teammate, right, you're going to build your other teammate up, because eventually it's going to benefit both of you, right? And when we think about dysfunctional teams, it always starts with somebody pointing the finger at somebody else. That person gets offended. They then fight, and the whole culture collapses. So you need to rid the bad apples, and this is hard to do. You need to rid the bad apples immediately. I don't care what level they are.
Immediately.
It could be the lowest on the totem pole, and it could be the highest on the totem pole. If you as a team realize that somebody in there is a bad apple, right, and they're not paying attention to they're not being accountable. Yeah. We're not holding them accountable, and the results are suffering because we're not paying attention to the results. That person has to go immediately. I know that this one's a little longer.
All this is easier said than done. No doubt about it.
Easier said than done. I'm not saying it is.
Yeah, don't bring any termites into your treehouse.
It's the number one thing. So I'm going to do a little recap on this one because it was a lot. Okay. The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. 1, absence of trust. 2, fear of conflict. 3, lack of commitment. 4, avoidance of accountability. And 5, inattention to results. Okay. These are things you need to look out for, whether it's a sports team, whether it's a large corporate organization, whether it's a small business, etc. And I want to tell you that sometimes these things exist and you still see short-term success, right? Which makes it even harder. Sometimes these things exist and you will still see short-term success. But I promise you, over time, it will blow up. Chad, that's all I have for this last episode of the leadership series. Anything to add?
No, I got nothing to add. I think you did a great job. It's a summer leadership series. Again, Lauer Power brought to you by GDK Development. Mr. Welsh and the gang out there, thank you so much for the sponsorship with GDK Development. The plumbing outlet, Brian G. Persing Masonry. And there's always room for more if you want to hop on this train and help us power through this adversity. And motivation with the Lauer Power Podcast. Chad, good job, my friend.
You too, pal. Can't wait to get started on the next one.
Are you a business owner, a leader, or an aspiring achiever looking to turn life's challenges into powerful fuel for your success? You've come to the right place. Get ready to unlock the secrets to turning life's hardships into your most powerful ally. Your hosts, along with our incredible guests, will help you tap into your own Lauer Power and guide you towards the success you've always dreamed of.